Hi everybody, it's Amy at Crafty Cat, and I'm back to do another Somerset Studio craft with me, or whatever you want to call it, but we're going to make one of the things that are in the magazine. Mine obviously is not going to be exactly like this, nor would yours, but it's just a fun idea to do some of the projects that are in these magazines when we purchase them. So this one calls for, it says to apply ink to a lunch bag and spray with water. Fold the bottom of the bag up enough to accommodate the size of the envelope or ephemera you are using. This will become the pocket front. Fold the top of the bag down to reinforce. This will become the back of the pocket once the pocket is formed. Glue the folded edge only. Collage and an assortment of scrappy fabrics, bits, or paper scraps across the top. Folded edge for decoration. Okay, so I'm not going to use like a sandwich bag or something like that. I'm going to use a piece of bag that I have left over from HelloFresh. So it's still brown paper bag. And I'm going to get it the size I want it, and then I'm going to spray it with some Distress Oxide sprays. So I'm going to move this over to the side for a moment just so that it's not in my way. And we're going to get this kind of the size I need for my envelope front. And this is just the front off of an envelope. I took the back off because I figured I don't need all that extra bulk. You could choose to leave the envelope whole and turn it into a pocket at the front and then make another pocket for behind. But I'm just going to make one pocket. So I'm going to tear this. Oh, I brought that out for a reason. I want a little bit of border around it, but not like tons. Where did I put my pencil? Oh my goodness. See, I move things when put things away, then I can't find them. So, okay. I'm going to mark this about probably here and maybe over here roughly. I'm going to tear it because I like this torn edge. I wish I could get that kind of a tear, but we'll just get what we can. Oh, I've been asked about these rulers lately, and I got mine on Amazon, and they're We Are Memory Keepers. You get a set of 3, and I literally never use the other 2 because the edges are a lot like this, and I just don't like it. So I've tried using them, but I don't like them. So that's the only thing. And it's kind of hard to find the clear ones. I don't love the metal tear rulers because I can't see through them, which becomes important sometimes depending on what you're tearing. So yeah, I prefer this, but it is kind of expensive, especially if you're like I am and only use the one. But I mean, I've had it for years and it works great. So I guess if you break down the price per use or however you want to do that, I'm sure it works out just fine. But I'm going to go ahead and glue this together. I did 2 pieces because they were saying to fold the bag down and all that. You know, you're giving it a little more strength than it would have just on its own because this is kind of a thin paper bag, a lot like a lunch bag would be. So I want to make sure it's not just floppy, flimsy. So how is everybody? I didn't say that. Apologize. I hope that you're all doing fantastic. I'm doing pretty good. It's toasty roasty here right now, which is fine. It's better than windy and cold, so I'll take it. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing good. Hugs and blessings to Mr. and Mrs. Helm, Celeste, and Betty. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for your kind comments. I really, really appreciate all of you very much. And welcome back to my subscribers who have been with me. And welcome to those who are just subscribing. I really appreciate it. So I have this as a piece of the fabric I'm going to use at the top. I'm going to move these out of the way because I know I'm going to spray stuff everywhere because I always do. And we're going to kind of spritz both of these things, hopefully, or at least put some color on them, as it says. And I know I should rinse these off, and I don't, so I'm a horrible mom to my inks and things. I don't I just forget, you know, I use them, I put them in the little basket, and then I forget until the next time I got to use them. It's definitely not a well thought out plan. You could also do where you spritz it and dip it and do all that. However you want to do it, do your way. I'm just doing it this way. This one I think I'm going to do more like this. And then I will pause to obviously get all of this dry. And then we will come back. All right, I always have to get it all over myself. There again, if I would wash them, I wouldn't have that problem. And then I'm going to take some water, this is just water, and kind of spritz some spots. Oops, sorry, to break your eardrums. Dab it a little bit. Okay, I think I want just a tiny bit more of this. Oh, I didn't even tell you. Crackling campfire, wild honey, vintage photo, and then water. Actually dip this in here a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to pause and get that dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and these are dry. So I didn't mention, this is Tim Holtz fabric. I'm sure some of you may have recognized it, but you could just find any fabric that you like that has maybe some kind of neat design on it. And that's different than what they had in the magazine too. So just use whatever you have. It doesn't have to be the exact same. It's not a problem. And then this was a tiny envelope, but you could easily tear an envelope. Because here's the thing. If you're going to use it in a journal as a pocket, you really don't want it more than 5. This one's about 4.5 this way. So that's just something to think about. Don't get something that is, you know, way too long that you're not going to be able to make a pocket out of. Just make sure that you keep the size of your journal in mind if you're using it in a journal. And I'm going to ink around the edge of this because I just feel like with all that, it needs some distressing as well. And in the end, you could even add some of the other ink. So that's going to go on there. And then I looked over at that other one because I want to see, I think they kind of did it behind here and stitched it. And I could be doing this totally wrong for all I know. This is just my interpretation. So if the person were to see this that made it and I'm messing it all up, I apologize. I'm just going by what I looked at there. Okay, I'm going to glue this all the way down, but as I mentioned, you probably could do it and have this as a pocket as well. And I'm going to go ahead and attach that fabric at the back. I will be stitching, but just to hold it in place to make it easier to figure out where I want to put everything. It's not quite as long, but we're just going to go with it. And then I just have this little bit of red fabric, even though that's not in that image, and I'll show you in a minute just so you can see, but this is just, again, how I'm choosing to do it. I'm going to put some glue on the back of this. It's kind of all up to your own interpretation, really. And I'm going to kind of put some little pleats in it. It'll be easier to do with some glue on it than when I'm trying to stitch it. Maybe. It's not easy when your fingers are sticky. So what have you guys been up to? Anything fun? Hopefully you had a great 4th of July. I am doing this before the 4th of July. I probably won't obviously be working on the 4th of July, so if there was a video we missed this week, that's why. I'm gonna try to get them all done, but depending on what we got going on. This I got at Joann's when they had a whole bunch of like vintage looking sewing stuff for a while. It's been a few years though, so I have no idea if you can still get that stuff, but anyway, it looks like measuring tape. I'm gonna ink it just a tiny bit because it looks very, very new. You could actually use, if you have an old measuring tape that you don't care if you cut it up, you could actually use that too, and that would be pretty cool looking. And I'm going to use glue to just tack it. And I use Scotch Permanent, if you're wondering. I do get that question a lot. And then, like on the picture, I have this piece of I don't know, it was a table runner or whatever. And I just stitched the red on there, which is what they did. They did it a little different because it's a different piece. It's got bigger squares, so they went around all the squares. So mine's, a little different, but that's fine. It doesn't have to be the same. And I'm going to put glue on that as well. I will run a stitch through that once it's down, or once I stitch everything else. So yeah, just go through what you have and think, that'll work. That'll fit the bill. It doesn't have to be the exact same because like I don't have the same stamps that are on that one, but I'm just using what I have. I did happen to have the same George Washington stamp they used, but that was just a fluke of luck. I kind of wanted the 1954 to show, but I'm not going to be able to get it without covering up the other stamp there. And then there's just like some random bits of paper on there as well. So I just have a book page. That's what I'm trying to say. Put one over here maybe. And then I have, this is actually, obviously a piece I stamped. This is the George Washington stamp. There's some tulle and just some thin other fabric that has lots of threads. And then I took some of the red after I stitched the stamp on there. And I did that ahead of time because obviously, So I think I'm just going to kind of put this here. And then I might put one more piece of old paper or old book page up there. And you can arrange those however you want. If you want to see less of the address, you can put a bigger one on or whatever. Got glue strings all over me. I'll just take another little piece of this one. Put it up here. Yeah, this is a fun pocket for really most any journal, or especially if you're doing kind of a grungy or a journal, man's journal or something like that, This I'm going to put on with some tacky glue because it's got all those threads. You don't have to have the threads hanging out behind there. I just was like, oh, I've got all these red threads now after stitching across there and stuff. So I might as well, and on this stamp, use them. My inky paper towel here. Okay, and then I'm going to go stitch. Kind of feel like I need something else up there. Since I did not make that long enough, not that it really matters, but that's just the way my brain works. It'll bug me. Do I want it on front? Yeah, I definitely feel like it needs it for some reason. I don't know why. Like I said, it'll bug me if I don't do it. And it's not going to hurt it, so. All right, I will go stitch around this and I'll come back. Okay, I'm back. I did crazy stitching back and forth on there. Stitched across here. I didn't stitch anymore on the stamp because I did put quite a bit of glue under there, but you know, just crazy stitching around. The one thing I forgot to do that I probably should have done before rather than after is stamp because of the dimension of that, but we're going to try to get some stamping on this. And we'll just get what we get because I didn't use my brain. And use whatever stamps you have. If you don't have like one of these sort of cancellation circle stamps or whatever, you can use a Tim Holtz circle stamp. You could use, you know, the lid off your glue just to make a circle. However you can kind of get that look is fine. It'll work. It's not the end of the world. And I'm actually going to stamp this, stamp it off, and then turn it and just kind of, I don't want it like super obvious up there as much as it is. And then I think I might use a different one. And stamp it off too. And it looks like there's another stamp that says mail. I don't have anything like that, but I do have this Schedule D, not that that, but I'm going to try doing it off. And this was just one that I found. I'm not going to do the whole thing though. To kind of get that look. And that is my pocket, which is similar, not the same, but similar to that one. So I think that's super fun. And I don't see why you could use almost any paper in the background, like packing paper, whatever you want to use. I don't think that it has to be a bag. I mean, you could definitely use a bag too, but and then just use whatever you have, whatever stamps you have, whatever fabric. Yeah, so just fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you again soon. Love ya. Bye.